Welcome to today's Software AG webcast titled Creating Applications for Digital Transformation. My name is Will Carter, and I'll be your webinar host. Today's webcast will be presented by Subhash Ramachandran, Senior Vice President of Product Management and Marketing at Software AG. As we move through today's presentation, I invite you to submit any questions that you may have via the Q&A box, which is located in the lower right corner of your WebEx session. We will do our best to answer all of your questions. In the event that we are not able to answer your questions, your submission will be recorded, and today's presenter will be back in touch with you as soon as possible. Additionally, today's presentation is being recorded. This recording will be available to you via YouTube should you wish to access it later on. To receive a copy of the YouTube link, please send an email to will.carter@softwareag.com. Before I turn today's presentation over to Subhash, I would like to briefly introduce you to Software AG. Software AG offers the first end-to-end digital business platform based on open standards with integration, process management, adaptive application development, real-time analytics, and IT portfolio management as core building blocks to help customers build their digital futures today. With over 45 years of customer-centric innovation, Software AG is ranked as a leader in many innovative and digital technology categories. Software AG has more than 4,300 employees and is active in 70 countries. It is now my pleasure to welcome Subhash.
Thank you, Will. Good morning, good afternoon, folks. Indeed, it's a pleasure for me and a privilege to be able to present to you on the topic of how Software AG can help you as a customer create applications for digital transformation. So we've been hearing a lot about digital lately, and a lot of organizations are going digital. That is that they're becoming digital enterprises. So what does it mean to become a digital enterprise? This is very different from how business was conducted not so long ago. So what are some of the changes? For example, as consumers, you have probably started noticing that banks, traditional banks, offering new online banking products to expand into regions where they have no physical presence. You probably started seeing insurance companies complementing traditional agent-based sales models with online offerings to target perhaps a younger demographic. And you've also probably seen brick-and-mortar retailers compete with online giants by offering mobile apps, specialty offerings, and innovative loyalty programs. But then, as an organization yourself, how do you go about becoming a digital enterprise? Can you simply just buy yet another package application? So during the course of this webcast, I'm going to talk about how platform technology can help you create unique, differentiating applications to really help you stand out from the competition. But it's not just technology. You'll also see that the capabilities and the roadmap that you need to follow in your journey towards continuous digital transformation. So let's get started. So I know Will already gave you an introduction to Software AG, very briefly. Built over 45 years of customer-centric innovation, Software AG is a leader in many innovative IT categories. We empower customers to win in the digital world by offering the world's first digital business platform. And I'm going to be really talking a lot about this platform during the course of this webinar. Will, there's an echo here. I wonder if you can turn off the microphone.
I don't have a microphone on my end. I do hear the echo.
Yeah, I don't know where that is coming from. That seems to have gone now. Okay, so whoever was it on mute, please stay on mute. All right, so this need to transform is not just a nice to have. Over the last 40 years, what we've seen is the average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company has gone down from 60 years to 15 years. That is scary. Many of you probably remember a number of names that you see at the bottom of the screen here that have perished. You remember electronics retailer Circuit City? I remember them. That's where I bought my first TV. Or Borders, where I spent many an hour reading books before a small company called Amazon really transformed the whole online retail business and sent them packing. Or my favorite example, Blockbuster, video rental chain that I used to frequent with my young daughter. But then, they really did not see this big threat of streaming services come their way, and they went out of business. So the choice for many organizations, in fact, I would say most organizations, is simple, but the situation is quite dire: transform or perish. So what does this mean for IT and most of you on this webcast today? And what I want to leave you with is that you, as an IT, are the key to this transformation. What is really important for large enterprises is that IT organizations and leaders like yourself be key change agents for this transformation. There has been some discussion over the last couple of years on the role of the CIO. Does IT matter? Versus the increasing influence of the CMO in purchasing decisions, especially around topics like the cloud. But we are here within Software AG to tell you that you as an IT organization can absolutely champion digital business innovation and facilitate the execution of your organization's digital business strategy. You are a key enabler here, and we are here to provide you the tools, techniques to help you get there. So this IT leadership under a CIO will own the platform that will enable this digital business transformation. Okay. One of the things that we have learned over the last couple of decades working with hundreds, if not thousands of customers, is that ERP systems, the way they evolved, have become a very important part and landscape of an IT organization. But then what we see is that ERP is not the platform for innovation that you need to drive digital business change. ERPs will continue to be important to run the business for the internal workings of an organization, but it is simply the system of record for all the operations that you need to manage. The challenge with ERPs is that it's all about standardized processes, right? They give you a set of processes, whether you're in retail or manufacturing or financial services. They're pretty much the same. And guess what? You and your competitors all have it. So there's no differentiation between what you have implemented and what your competitor has implemented. So not only the fact that you have the same ERP system, but then that leads to the question, how does that help you better serve your customers or create new offerings and help your business go down and introduce and identify new revenue channels? So about 5 to 6 years ago, IT departments started moving some of their apps to the cloud, ERP systems to the cloud. First in that list was CRM applications, HR applications, and the goal to do that was really to reduce some costs. But what we're beginning to see is the gradual deconstruction of the large ERP suites and the introduction of new applications that are better at addressing these new business or these new digital business initiatives. And we'll talk a little more as to what they are and how it's really changing the landscape of what we call digital transformation. Okay, so let's start with an introduction to Software AG's digital business platform, whose definition is an integrated set of technologies and tools to manage the digital transformation and to implement new business designs. We believe that a platform beats product. So as businesses go through the transformation to become a digital business, IT itself becomes the business platform. And in fact, we've actually seen with some of the the Ubers of the world and the Airbnbs that the entire business is predicated on being a platform themselves. So in some cases, that entire business is a platform. But for most other IT organizations like yourself, it becomes very important to understand that the ability to move forward and facilitate that digital transformation, a platform is so important as a key capability to undertake that. All right, so let's take a look at sort of the world we have come from in terms of the pre-digital age and where we are going with the digital world. So in the pre-digital world, applications were built to address specific use cases, but they were mostly built in silos, fairly monolithic, they were complex and not capable of change, very inflexible. The innovation was through the vendor provided standardized processes, standardized ways of doing things, and you basically plug that into your organization to run your businesses. That's not good enough anymore. In the digital world, the co-innovation is through customers and the vendors themselves, right? So it is customers like yourself who can use a platform-based approach to application development that will allow your organization to create and own your own unique business logic. That is going to be your differentiation. And the way you do that is by co-innovating with the vendor, the platform vendor. Since the need is not for a package solution or something out of the box, because that doesn't represent your unique value proposition, but really a platform that uniquely provides the ability for you to be able to define your own innovations. Okay? So this is the innovation layer that will help you outsmart the competition, help develop new superior products, and provide superior experience to your customers. So these digital applications are built on a platform that provide the ability to architect them as microservices, develop and deploy them in an agile manner, and are flexible and built for change, not built to last, since that is the nature of the business requirements today. Things change very quickly, and what you thought you built 6 months ago may no longer be relevant or could be obsolete. And the ability for you to be able to leverage what you've already created in terms of your own unique business logic as new applications going forward on a platform-based approach is really key to this argument. Okay, so let's talk a little more about what is this business logic and why is this important and what are the characteristics of this logic, right? We believe that a platform, in our case, Software AG's digital business platform, allows you to define and manage business logic and help assemble them to build the next generation of digital business applications. So what are the different types of logic that you can build? You have integration logic. This is really the stitching together of data that you have in different applications. You have data logic and the ability for you to be able to expose that, say, within an in-memory data grid for faster performance and scale. You have decision logic, right? Think in terms of business rules that allow you to create these rules and expressions that enable you to take the right decisions that your business needs. You have program logic that can be either expressed in code, underlying code, or in reusable processes and tasks that can be used in conjunction with process logic to help manage customer interactions and end-to-end business flows. And then finally, event logic, which is really the ability to handle notifications, alerts, and then take some action on top of that. All within this notion of providing the ability to create a strategy that helps you as an IT organization start the process of business and IT transformation to help understand and address the business needs that are coming your way. So what we say with our digital business platform from Software AG is that we allow you to not only manage this business logic in a holistic way, but then to assemble it in such a way that as you build out applications, you can reuse this logic across the application, since the components of that, or really the key part of an application, is the underlying business logic, which is the innovation that you bring that can help you beat the competition. Okay, so what does that mean in terms of this new landscape that we call the digital business platform and the evolution that we see from the traditional ERPs to the next generation of what we call, or what analysts call, the systems of differentiation around the creation of new digital applications? So the landscape continues to remain same in terms of ERPs, either on-premise or in the cloud, increasing footprint of big data with the likes of Hadoop, for example, the emergence of things as in IoT, sensors and devices, the always existence of B2B partners, emergence of mobile apps, cloud. So within this very heterogeneous and complex IT landscape, we are proud to offer our digital business platform, which can be deployed on-premise, on the cloud, or both in a hybrid manner to truly provide you a platform as a service that helps build the next generation of digital business applications, but in a modular, agile, flexible, fast, but most important, a differentiating way for you to be able to create those new business designs and address the business needs that are facing your organization to truly not just survive, but outcompete your competition in this world. So let me talk a little bit about the components or the building blocks that make up Software AG's digital business platform. We start with business and IT transformation, and this is the key capability that helps you manage and govern the change that you're beginning to respond to from your business. The strategy required to, or the documentation of the strategy to understand the change that you want to now execute is a key part of how some customers start their journey towards digital transformation. Another key capability is the in-memory data and the ability to be able to provide superior performance and scale for the kinds of applications that you want to build. Integration and APIs as the key connection and data exposing layer become another key building block within this platform. Understanding what the strategy is first and then implementing that as the process change while combining the human aspect, the technology aspect, and the business aspect is what the process layer is all about. And then finally, making sense of all this in terms of the analytics and, more important, the decisions that you now need to make on this data is what rounds out the building blocks for what we call the Software AG's digital business platform. As already mentioned, the deployment for this as an IT organization is something that we provide choices for on-premise, cloud, but in many cases, I would say vast many cases, our customers are choosing a hybrid strategy, which is a combination of trying to do a deployment that goes across on-premises as well as a cloud. And what we offer to you as a customer is proven technology based on best-of-breed capabilities, seamlessly integrated across all the different lifecycle stages, design time, runtime, deployment time, operation time, allowing you to build on top of a platform in truly a customer co-innovation manner, taking your unique needs along with our platform capabilities to build differentiating solutions. Okay, so getting down a little lower into the details, and I realize this is a fairly complex slide, but I'm just going to touch upon certain key elements that you see in terms of our digital business platform architecture. So for one, you'll see APIs are pervasive across the digital business platform. And that's a very important aspect because it's not just the APIs that you want to expose as a provider to your end consumers that is important, but also the APIs that are exposed internally between the different capabilities for them to be able to leverage and reuse and truly allow this platform to help you assemble the next set of applications that is key to this argument here. Some of the other key capabilities and characteristics are an event-driven model, which this platform readily supports through the notion of digital events. So events can be produced anywhere within this architecture and consumed by any other product or parts of the platform. An in-memory data grid and store. I already highlighted the performance and scale and the ability to take this and serve up sort of the consumers of this platform. Architectural underpinnings that first started as SOA almost a decade ago and has evolved into microservices and containers with the idea that you can truly adopt a DevOps-style deployment pattern as you go through the entire life cycle of build, test, deploy, and have your end users consume these applications. Going left to right, tight integration from all the data sources who are extremely influential for the data that is being served up by these applications. From the traditional ERP systems, B2B partners, a number of these ERP systems going to the cloud, increasing use of sensor and device data served up by IoT, and of course, all the different social streams that are very important from a consumer-centric perspective to understand customer behavior and being able to rapidly react to those needs. All the way to the right side, where the end result is consumer-facing apps, digital apps, around different areas like marketing and sales. And last but not least, the ability to elastically scale, because in the digital age, you're talking about not hundreds or thousands, but perhaps millions of consumers, and the ability to really have a mature, scalable, and stable platform that can serve up the needs of millions of consumers that need access to your applications. Here's another view of what we call our digital business platform, and it's the capabilities view across these 5 pillars that I talked about. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, and in fact, I'm going to touch upon some of these key capabilities in the next few slides and highlight what we think are important. But then within each of these categories, you can quickly see the amount of the depth that this platform provides, whether it's a kind of business strategy and planning that you allowed within business IT transformation, the in-memory store that we provide within our in-memory data grid, the broad connectivity options across applications, partners, cloud, mobile, as well as the ability to expose them as APIs within the integration and API layer, the process automation, the application development, the mobile enablement aspects within our process layer, and finally, aspects like pattern detection, correlation, process discovery, mining, event processing through and dashboarding through the analytics and decisions layer. So the capabilities that are offered through the Software AG Digital Business Platform are key building blocks or even sub-building blocks that you can pick and choose as you go about trying to define your own unique business logic and have that business logic be surfaced in the next generation applications that you want to expose. Okay, let me highlight and talk through some of these capabilities that Software AG offers and why they are critical for the success that you want to undertake as part of your digital transformation. Let's start with customer experience, which is really how I describe the world that we live in. We are truly living in the age of the customer. They are extremely influential in moving in making the transformation that organizations are going through. And what we offer with Software AG's Digital Business Platform are new models which are emerging to help better understand this customer behavior. Some examples that you see on this slide here, the ability to create customer journey maps, customer landscape, and these have become key tools in the modeling process as you go through your strategy and roadmap to understand customer behavior. So here are some best practices. When starting to design good customer experience, it is important to make sure and understand that value is delivered quickly. We live in an agile world. Customers and end users cannot wait months and years. Even business users, even IT users cannot wait that long to see results. Customers these days are extremely impatient, and they want to be able to see results quickly, and it becomes very important for organizations like yourself to deliver that value quickly. So customer journey models help define this. But then as you go through this process, avoid setting up a program to create large numbers of these journey models. Instead, concentrate on a few key areas where new products are being launched, okay? New opportunities can be identified, or where existing customer issues exist. Perhaps customer satisfaction is an issue that you want to address. Put measurements in place to understand what the problem is and how you can better solve them. So those are some best practices as you go through this journey of understanding customer usage and using tools like customer journey maps to help address that. It's also important to understand there's a wide range of business stakeholders in this modeling process, right? Sales, marketing, customer experience team, customer usability teams, process designers. Bring in customers. Co-innovation, right? Co-innovation, when Software AG talks about it, is Software AG co-innovating with our customers. Same thing applies for you as an organization with your consumers as your end customers. Ensure that the model is representative of exactly what they're talking about. Design thinking, which I'll touch upon later as well, has become a key approach for ensuring superior customer experience as well. Okay, moving into yet another key capability, hybrid integration. Integration has always been about connecting multiple endpoints, but integration has really evolved over the last 15, 20 years from the very traditional A2A, application to application integration, or even the traditional B2B or business to business trading partner integration. Integration today encompasses cloud, SaaS applications, mobile integration, social, big data, and of course, IoT with sensors and devices. And the challenge that IT organizations have today is being able to not just connect all these different data sources and targets and different ways that integration is emerging, but being able to do this at the places where the data is being sourced or data is being sent. And the key requirement here is for hybrid. So it's not just good enough to say, I'm going to do integration on-premise because that's where the majority of my apps are today, or I'm going to do integration in the cloud because that's where a lot of my apps are going. The key requirement is both, which we call hybrid integration, where you may need to establish, and many of you have probably established, an on-premise ESB to do a lot of that heavy lifting with on-premise integration. Many of you are also going down the path of iPaaS, or integration platform as a service, or integration cloud, as we call it, to be able to tackle that integration needs for the emerging SaaS applications, also as a way to drive what analysts at Gartner call bimodal IT. Have your business users themselves self-service their integration needs by being able to provide easy integration tools to wire very quick integrations, say, between Salesforce and SuccessFactors, for example. But then the key point here is hybrid, where you have to be able to do both, and you need capabilities across this platform to be able to go across all the different integration needs as well as cloud and on-premise, all in a way that is holistic and reusable so that you yourself are not thinking in terms of what do I do here versus what do I do there. The API economy, probably one of the most frequent conversations I have with customers today, is really fueling digital transformation. And the way it's doing that, it's introducing new revenue channels that organizations like yourself can embrace, leverage, and take advantage of. So there's so much value within your own organization's data and services that you want to be able to expose and put in front of your consumers, but not just your consumers, because your consumers are not necessarily coming to you directly. They're going through third-party sites, they're going through partners, and so it makes it very important for you to be able to take all this critical information, expose that as API, make it available to value-added partners. These can be third-party developers who can be your channel out in the market to take your message. Certainly, they're going to ask what's in it for me, and they have a right to do so. But in the process of doing so, they are also expanding the reach that you previously did not have in getting to a much larger set of consumers who could be interested and generate revenue for your goods and services. But then let's not forget, at the end of the day, how do you make and expose all these data and information within the organization? It is integration, or as I stated in my previous slide, hybrid integration that provide you the tools and techniques to be able to offer up this information and then through the API management capabilities, expose that to these developers and partners. Yet another key capability within the digital business platform is streaming analytics, especially given the role that IoT is beginning to play, within what some call the new architectural styles, or even the industrial 4.0 revolution that many customers and analysts are talking about. And what streaming analytics allows you to do is take this vast amount of big data, and that's what really IoT sensors and devices are producing. They're producing tons and tons, gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes of data. But how do you as an organization make sense out of this? You need technology, and in this case, capabilities like streaming analytics to be able to correlate this vast amount of data, create perhaps new complex events that can make sense out of this data, and in turn, drive the set of actions that you need to either alert you of something going on in the social world that you need to quickly take action on, alert you to problems happening within, say, your manufacturing devices so that you can undertake preventive maintenance, very quickly rather than wait for the more expensive breakdown maintenance. Injecting things like predictive analytics and predictive behavior so that you can be on top of issues before they happen. And then, of course, having the ability to have dashboards that can give you full insights into everything that's going on and just the data that you need to worry about and not the gigabytes that's being parsed and correlated for you and made sense of. Yet another very important characteristic and capability offered by the digital business platform. So let's get into some examples. I've been talking about a lot of capabilities. I've talked about the ability to actually build out the next generation of applications, what Software AG's digital business platform can do for you. But then let's talk about some concrete examples. And one of our showcase examples of Software AG is, and a great example of a digital company is Outerwall. You probably know them best as a provider of retail kiosks, right? Like Redbox, where you can go and rent movies, or Coinstar, where you can exchange your coins for money. And as the name implies, Outerwall is typically, they typically situate their kiosks at the outer wall of large retailers like grocery stores and pharmacies. And what Outerwall realized as they went down this path of becoming a digital enterprise was that they needed to really transform the relationships that they have with these B2B providers or B2B partners like grocery stores and pharmaceutical and pharmacy chains. And the key requirement here was for consumers like you and me to find information about the kiosks directly on the retail partner websites. So it is not just good enough for me to go to redbox.com and know what movies are there, but I even need to know whether the Kroger that I'm going to go or the Walgreens that I'm going to go to fill a prescription has a Redbox there and what movies are available. And that's what Outerwall did, using APIs and certain other capabilities from Software AG, managed these APIs for retail partners to promote Redbox data, Coinstar data directly on their own sites. And in the process of doing that, greatly improved customer visibility, and then provided the channels for Outerwall to be able to promote their sites, their information directly via their partner websites. And what Outerwall has done is expanded these relationships greatly, because guess what? What's good for customers coming in to these grocery stores and getting information about Outwall's retail kiosks is also very good for the grocery stores and the pharmaceutical chains themselves, because a couple of studies have shown that just to come to one of these stores to rent movies also increases sales for the host retail stores themselves, because guess what? I'm going and renting a movie. I probably want to go buy some popcorn and some soda, and while I'm there, get some bread and milk, while I'm at the store, right? So it is a mutually symbiotic relationship between Outwall and the retail partners, and yet another example of what digital thinking and digital transformation can do to help businesses grow. Let's look at a few more examples here. These are some incredible examples of Software AG customers who have undertaken digital transformations, and they've not just gone through this process, but they're reaping the rewards of this transformation. My first example is of a large printing and imaging company who completely changed the business model from just selling printers and such devices and moved into a managed services kind of offering, because they were able to provide value-added services for their customers through the use of IoT technology to understand predictive maintenance behavior, proactively notify their customers of repairs before they get too costly. In the process of doing that, reduce cost of service for the customer, but in turn, create a new business track around value-added services that they could go and sell to these businesses or to their customers directly. As a result of which, they're expecting over 50% growth in the coming year. My second example is of a large global toy company who really wanted to transform the loyalty business that they have with their customers. And it was not just good enough to understand what customers were buying in terms of their goods and products, in this case toys, but understanding how these toys were actually being used so that they could offer up marketing promotions and offers back to these customers based on the usage or based on better understanding the usage to really increase the cross-sell revenue opportunities that they previously did not have. A third example is a large sporting goods retailer who started with the goal of improving omni-channel experience across the different ways that customers dealt with the store, directly walking up to the retailer through mobile devices, taking advantage of capabilities like buy online, pick up in store. But in the process of doing that, realize that they can really improve the customer experience as well as provide new services to customers through mobile apps so that they don't really have to go to the store to find what they're looking for. They can do this online and then build and drive additional revenue and improve customer satisfaction in the process of doing so. And lastly, a large oil and gas company. Digital transformation goes across so many different verticals. It's not just the typical consumer-facing verticals that many of us think about. Large oil and gas company who really wanted to transform their business, at the same time heavily dependent upon improved safety and operations that is critical to their business success. The way that industry is defined, any issues with safety get magnified. Things come up in the press, gives them a really bad name. And they undertook the journey with Software AG's digital business platform to improve the safety, in the process reduce business risk, and also transform their processes to improve their internal operations. So some really exciting examples that Software AG's customers have undertaken with our own digital business platform. So let me perhaps summarize what we mean by building these applications and what that vision looks like that is being anchored by what we call the digital business platform. We give you a number of capabilities. I already talked about those capabilities that go across the development needs, that go across the different channels that you need to help your customers interact with, that allow you to create business logic and flow in different orchestration styles, as well as give you meaning through analytics and decisions for how best you can understand the data flowing through these applications and take the right action. But then in a way that allows you, mostly as an IT organization, to work perhaps in a structured style, but start bringing your business counterparts in an agile manner and employ unstructured practices as well. Be both IT-driven as well as, in the words of an analyst Forrester, in a low-code style of development practice, get business analysts working on the same platform as well. Or in the way that Gartner defines it, bring together within the same platform the Mode 1 and the Mode 2 style of development, all understanding that your goal is the same, to help your business transform itself, help generate and create new business and revenue opportunities for your organization. That is really the vision that we talk about for building the next generation of digital business applications. Finally, the user experience that you want to offer your customers needs to be unified. It needs to be a responsive experience. We all know the power of mobile today, whether it's smartphones or tablets. And these are the kind of user interfaces that end users, customers, business analysts, process owners, any users of these applications expect. And that's what we provide as part of the user interface that is being exposed by these applications. So in summary, and to really give you some ideas for what you want to do next, what's your call to action from this webinar, this webcast that I've taken you through today? Start thinking about how you want to create your digital strategies. Perhaps a lot of this has already is coming down, top down, from your CEO, from your CIO, from your CMO, from your CFO, in terms of the strategy for the organization, and for you to be able to understand what it means to take this digital strategy and then start using Software AG's platform and methodologies to start executing on these strategies. Software AG's advice to you as an organization is to take a platform approach to assembling things you already built in the past, creating new things that you need to uniquely build out your business logic that can truly differentiate you from your competition. As you take a platform approach, don't forget the next generation of architecture that you need within this platform to not only leverage new capabilities, but to also do it in an architectural manner that employs some of the new best practices that are being in place that's coming out around microservices, for example, or DevOps, for example. And lastly, the means to an end. It's the development and rollout of new digital applications to implement those new digital business designs that your digital strategy is asking you to do. That concludes my presentation for today. Hopefully, I gave you a good insight for why digital, not just for survival, but to really outsmart your competition. Why Software AG's digital business platform. Number of really nice examples of customers who have already undertaken that journey from us, with us. And finally, the summary and call to action for how you want to go about building the next generation of digital business applications. If you need more information, I encourage you to go to digital.softwareag.com, where you will see not only the white paper upon which we started this webcast, but also a lot of other really good information as to how Software AG can help transform you and help you go down this journey. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over back to you, Will, for Q&A.
Great. Subhash, thank you very much for a very informative presentation. We have a couple of questions in front of us this morning. So the first one, is there a starting point for this transformation?
That's a great question. There's really no single starting point. The starting point is what are your most emerging requirements and needs, and how do you want to leverage the key building blocks that I talked about earlier as one of your starting points. So I'll give you a few examples. Some customers look at IT business transformation, IT business strategy as a starting point. They want to start top down. They want to start with the strategy, understand the IT portfolio, understand the business strategy, and then use that as a starting point to influence the execution side of the business. There are other customers who want to look at their vast IT landscape and the integration needs that many of the Software AG customers or who are integration customers have already started their journey. By looking at the capabilities, the services, the APIs that they've already created, how can they start there and then put something out to their business, their end consumers very quickly, say in terms of mobile apps, okay? Remember, I talked about being very responsive and putting something out there for people to start using, and then based on that, growing that and taking that into the strategy area to make that a bigger initiative. Or it could be purely from an analytics point of view. I need to know what's going on first. Show me the information before I embark on my improvement or efficiency-based initiative. So starting point can be any one of those building blocks that I laid out that is key to the digital business platform. And it all depends upon what your unique requirements are and where you feel your current competencies lie and how you can leverage that to actually get started down this road.
Okay. Another question has come in. We have several legacy apps. Do you recommend replacing them?
Not at all. Not at all. One of the key messages that we like to say at Software AG is embrace and extend. We realize that organizations and IT departments have, over the last number of decades, brought in ERP applications, they have legacy, they have homegrown, they have mainframe applications. Software AG ourselves started off as a mainframe database and 4GL company. So we know that a customer's IT landscape is very heterogeneous, and the ability for Software AG's digital business platform to embrace and extend those into the kinds of digital business applications I talked about is key to helping you transform, because transform doesn't mean start from scratch. That's going to take you years, if not decades. It's about using what you already have, leveraging what you have in a platform approach to take those capabilities through integration, through APIs, put a process in place that helps create that business logic and expose those as applications, say, within a mobile smartphone app that really allows you to be agile and responsive to those business needs.
Okay. Another one we have is, how are these digital apps different from our current apps?
So the big difference is the apps of the old, whether they were ERP applications or perhaps the old J2E style of applications, were built primarily, one, in silos, and two, required standardized processes, as we talked about the ERP applications, or just a lot of coding, and which were brittle, hard to maintain. And the expectation was that these are going to just stay put for a number of years. They were built to last. What we see in the digital age is that these apps that I talked about, these next generation digital apps, are built to change, built for change. You may roll out an app for your consumers within 6 months. You may realize that what you built needs to be thrown away and you got to build something new. And for you to be able to quickly build something new, it is not the application themselves that are important. It is the capabilities underlining to that application that are even more important. And so what Software AG talks about is an assembly model, a process where you can build from reusable components, the business logic that we talked about, the program logic, the process logic, the integration logic, the event logic, the data logic. That logic which you create as underlying building blocks upon which these applications are built is really the key to taking a platform approach, because you may build an application today, you may throw it away in 6 months' time, you may build a second application in 6 months' time. You're not redoing stuff, you're not recoding stuff, you're just leveraging what you've built as capabilities previously.
Okay, the last question in our queue is, we are moving parts of ERP to the cloud. How will these new apps fit in our infrastructure?
This is just an extension of what you're doing. We talk about the deconstruction of the giant monolith that are ERPs, and the deconstruction does not make life any easier to you as an IT organization. Yes, you go away from perhaps the large SAP and Oracle systems, but then you're introducing more complexity. There are new, emerging SaaS applications out there, certainly the Salesforces and the SuccessFactors and the Workdays, a number of these applications coming up, and they are exciting and fit for purpose. But then they are still pretty much systems of record. They are not differentiating. They allow you to run your business, perhaps in a cheaper model with you not having to manage the infrastructure. They're all cloud-based. But the need and the complexity has just grown with the emergence of these apps, because now you have a lot more to manage, a lot more data coming from a vast variety of sources that you have to now ingest, assemble, put together, and then use within these applications that we talk about. So as more and more of your apps go to the cloud, that complexity increases, the need for a platform approach becomes even more important. And then the fact, another key capability I talked about around hybrid integration also becomes a very important factor here, where you can have some integration happening on-premise, some integration happening in the cloud, but you do need a holistic platform that can bring all this together and help drive the next generation of digital apps.
Okay, Subhash, thank you very much for your time and for a very informative presentation today. To everybody that's with us, I would invite you again to visit us at digital.softwareag.com for additional information on today's presentation. Lastly, you can also see a future schedule, of our upcoming webcasts on a variety of topics at softwareag.com, and then go to the right side of the page to the resources and events and drop down to the webinars. Again, thank you to everybody for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day, and with that, our program is over. Bye-bye.